we're finally getting to the flower basket block. This is made of a bunch of half square triangles, some that are sewn as a set and some that are just halves. You do not need to download the templates for this. All of this can be cut with your rotary cutter, a ruler, and your easy angle ruler. So your piece A is going to be cut from a 2-inch strip, and you are going to cut 6 sets of 2 fabrics coming together. And you're going to use, if you go by the color pattern, you're going to use various scraps of yellow, pinks, and oranges, and of course a background. Then you are going to cut an additional 2 of these out of the background. For piece B, it measures, you're going to cut that 2 inches by 3.5 inches, and you're going to cut 2 of those. And then you're going to be cutting a piece C of background and a piece C of the basket. And piece C measures 3 7/8. You're going to cut that strip and then use your easy angle to cut piece C for both the brown basket as well as the background. And then you're going to cut 2 more pieces of A for the basket. And again, that's from a 2-inch strip. Now, I've got some of mine cut out. I'm going to go ahead and make my half square triangles right now and then come back and lay this out. Alright, and again, as always, after you sew your half square triangles, I always like trimming mine back up to 2 inches, so trim is necessary. And I'm going to press all of these to the dark side and trim. And I'm finding that my Creative Grids ruler feels like it's wearing out. I've picked up one that I hardly have used, and the grippy things on the back are just not as grippy, especially on the edge that I use all the time. So I think I'm going to try and throw this in the dishwasher with no heat to see if there's like a dirt buildup of this. I don't know. Is that even possible? But I'm going to try that to try and restore it. That way I don't have to buy another one. I love my Creative Grids, and it was a game changer for me. What works for me may not work for you, so... My Omni Grids worked for me for years, so, and they're still working. I just don't use them. So I have that backup plan in case something happens. If you want to use a floral fabric for your half square triangles, that would be a great time to use some of that as a scrap. Alright, I have it laid out. How are we going to sew this? Well, I'm going to go ahead and first join my basket edges. And I'm going to line up this edge and this edge to my rectangular background, and I'm going to sew those 2, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to sew all of this grid together in rows. So this is going to be a row of 3, this will be a row of 3, and this will only be a row of 2. But I'm going to press this like it's a 9 patch. I'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, Here I have made my rows. I have pressed these this way as well as that one that way. Okay. And then this one I've pressed in, and this will allow us to spin our seams. Although if you don't want to do that, if spinning seams isn't your thing, and I've been toting this all along, it's fine. Don't do it. Whatever you're familiar with. Sometimes I don't think pressing really matters all that much. On a sampler quilt it might, because if we have another 9 patch next to this, which the likelihood of that is not, but if we did, it would allow all of the seams to nest a whole lot better. I'm going to go ahead and sew this partial 9 patch, and then we're going to get it joined to this. I have this partial 9 patch sewn. I'm going to go ahead and remove my dog ears. And I did spin my seams on the back. Okay. Now when we join this piece on here, I see that I'm a little bit off right here. I'm going to go ahead and line that up where I think it needs to go. And it's overhanging on both edges quite a bit. And that's okay, because we're going to trim this up into a square. All right, folks, this square should measure 5 inches when you get it sewn. And I'm lining up this edge, and I know I don't have that perfectly even. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make my 1/4 inch here and here correct, so that I don't lose any of my points. And it keeps moving. All right. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to trim the edge if needed. Just slivers. All right. Now, for those of you who've never made this, now I'm going to choose to sew these pieces on, and I'm going to press outward. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about that angle. All right, I have this sewn. There are dog ears that you will have to trim. I'm going to go ahead and leave these little spots there for now. This is cut extra big, so don't worry about putting it in the right spot. Approximate it, pin it, line it up, and sew. I'm going to choose to press this out, and yes, it is quite a bit bigger. And now you will measure your block to see that it measures at 6.5. And I presume that 2 of my edges are, and then this piece will not, and I'm right. And there we have the basket block. I need to give this a good press. And I made my basket brown. It's brown in the bomb picture, I guess you could call it. I did change these up just because I used the scraps that I had, and I kind of wanted to balance them out. So what do you think about this block? You could technically make this block without putting any of this on and use up a bunch of your scraps in a different quilt. If you wanted to make this quilt full of baskets, you could do that too. This is a cute little block, not a hard sew again. Does have funny angles, but if you pay attention, everything will line up. Thanks for watching.